Well, welcome to episode number 3 of Off the Leash. I'm Dave Clark of the Racing Post. He's Tony Bullen of the Racing Post, sponsored by Premier Greyhound Racing. And we're going to be off the leash again, all things Greyhound Racing here. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Dave. Not too bad. A decent start to the year, and as we touched on earlier, fast and furious with all these competitions coming.
Well, we've trapped smartly, I think, albeit only at 2-1. First anti-post competition in the bag. Yourself, Garfiney Blaze, doing the business.
Yeah, very impressive. I mean, threw down a marker from the very get-go. Impressive in the heat, impressive in the semi, and did the business even in better style in the final. New track record, beating his own previous record, Dave.
Yeah, we'll come on to that as well, but we'll be here every single week. Hopefully continuously providing you with winners as well. So do remember to tune in. We'll be recording and publishing every single Wednesday live on the Racing Post Racing Post YouTube channel. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Get your questions into us as well. We've got a couple of questions that we'll tackle at the end of the show. Now, first off, we will look at Garfiney Blaze doing the business here. Now, he was in trap 4. It looked an awkward enough draw, given that he'd been on the inside. Tony switched to trap 4. But he made no mistake whatsoever, and he lowered his own track record once again. All 3 rounds, he broke the track record, albeit a lightly raced trip. This was some performance.
It certainly was. I mean, I was concerned. I said to you, I was a little bit concerned. The first 2 bends were going to be key to the race. But when you start like that, a dog of his ability, it was game over. The white towel would have been thrown in from the opposition if it would have been a boxing match, because he just delivered a knockout blow from the get-go. And his pace, the way the dog covers the ground, he is a joy to watch in full flight. The track looks tailor-made for him, Dave, because Central Park's a nice galloping track, and he just loves every part of the track. And again, that track record, I think, obviously with the distances being new, I think this track record will stand for a while. That was a very exceptional run.
Yeah, I mentioned on the runner-up as well, Ballymac Taylor, who didn't actually go by him after the line, surprisingly, but she's going to be seen to best effect all of this year over the marathon distances, won't she?
Indeed. I mean, 6 bends is not her game. Even though it's a stiff 6 bends, she wants the 8 bends. That's where she gets going. Even a tight 8 bend suits her down to the ground. We've seen her stuff at Romford, so yeah, keep an eye on her over the marathon scene. And
I mentioned for All Right Goldie as well for Dave Lewis. He was a lovely man and a former bus driver as well. That was his first crack at a Category 1 prize, and I think he'll have some fun this year with his talented team of dogs. Garfiney Blaze then, Tony, the Premier Greyhound Racing Golden Jacket, not too far away, starts the 10th of February down at Crayford. 2 laps of the track, 714 metres. Are we looking at a contender in Garfiney Blaze?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the beauty of having a dog of his class, the calendar's at your joy. It's a joy to pick up that calendar, because you can pick and choose your poison. And the way, as you touched on, he was still in front going to the drop against Ballymac Taylor. I can't see the track or trip being an issue, Dave.
Yeah, he's classing 14 times champion trainer Mark Wallace, a fair record in that event as well. Right, that is the Cesarewitch done and dusted, but we still have the £10,000 Coral Essex Vase ongoing, and a little bit of drama last week after 7 races on Friday night. Romford welfare is absolutely paramount, and a decision was made. Track partially frozen, no more. So abandoned after race 7. They rescheduled the 3 semi-finals for Monday morning, and we're now going to tackle that action. We will look at semi-final number 1, and it was won by Iams of Sydney in trap 4. 35 dead, fastest winner of the 3 semi-finals. Sing along Stacey for KTO Flatty was in trap 1 as well. And this winner, very impressive off the front. Tony, he was a Ladbrokes Gold Collar finalist, and he's classy. He starts on his days.
Yeah, very good run. When this dog wins, Dave, he goes and posts very fast times, and he was involved in one of the most memorable races of 2023 when he had that tremendous buckle with Lockhill Jess in the semi-finals of the Gold Collar at Crayford. But he needed this start because he was drawn in 4, but when he's in front, again, it was lights out for the others. I was a little bit disappointed. I mean, Connections with wide runners must have been a little bit disappointed that they've turned up and was against it, in my opinion. I think the track, the weather conditions certainly had an inside bias, but take nothing away from the winner. 35 dead, very impressive.
Well, we'll come on to that because we'll look at the other 2 semi-finals as well. And the final It's 6 railers, which is going to make some fascinating viewing, and we'll tackle that after we've looked at the other 2 semis. Up next then, Havana Top Note, another one of Tony's anti-post selections, flying high. What price?
8-1.
8-1. The Challenge Cup winner goes marching on then into Friday's final, and this was a really good effort off the front. Another ground who starts on stage, he's put 35-14 on the board. Kennelmate Queen Georgia, who I know is very well regarded, in trap 4, chased him home. What did you make of this effort, Tony? I mean, when he leads, he's almost impossible to knock off the hair over this sort of trip, but he doesn't need to lead.
No, we touched on this last week as well. This was the semi where there wasn't a smash and grab type. So he was always an opportunity that Havana Top Note could turn in a prominent position. It was brilliant that he flashed out and went to the front very quickly. But he had run through a brick wall of connections. Summer Stayers Classic finalist, Hunt Cup finalist. I think he was Champion Stakes finalist last year over course and distance. What a competition dog he's proving to be. I think we've yet to see the best of Queen Georgia, but she was firmly put in her place by the kennelmate here. But he's got good all-round speed, this Havana Top Note, and that's why he's a Mr. Competition dog, Dave. Absolutely.
Right, let's move on then to the 3rd semi-final. And it was a Yarmouth Raider, albeit Paul Burr dual attached at Yarmouth and Romford now. Roxy's Bullet, who banged out from track 1. When you watch the VT here, you'll notice, it's hard to tell anyway from side on, that Roxy's Bullet certainly took a step right on the run to the turn here. But 35.74, not the quickest on the clock. And a race that changed complexion in the latter stages. The other qualifier was the 2022 Romford Puppy Cup winner in track 3, Romeo Hotshot, who looked like he come to win the race, but he didn't.
Yeah, the Romeo Hotshot dog, he won the Puppy Cup, didn't he, 2022? But he's always been a dog best off the front for me. I think he's a little bit 2 minds when he has to come from just off the pace. But Roxy's Bullet showed ferocious early pace in the first round, Dave, 13.30 odd split. Not as quick this occasion, but this is the beauty of a tight track at Romford. You don't have to be the fastest in the race. You can defend the lead if you're smart and you can sort of hold the dogs at the bends. And that's exactly what Roxy's Bullet done. Even after the line, he was going strong, though.
Yeah, really nice performance, that. And it will be interesting to see how Friday's final unfolds live on Sky Sports Racing. Behind the red button, 6 railers in the final. We'll show you the draw now. 575 metres, lap and a half of the track. There's £10,000 up for grabs. Tony, you've already sitting on Havana Top Note at 8 anti-post. We've got some prices here as well. As big as 3-1, 7-2. That feels a little bit big to me. Are you sticking with Havana Top Note, or are you thinking there's a little bit of value elsewhere?
No, I'm going to stick, Dave. I think it's a tricky final, in fairness. I'm glad we're the other side of Sing Along Stacey. I'd have been more disappointed if Havana Top Note had drawn 4, Sing Along Stacey 5. I think we'd drawn the right side of Sing Along Stacey because she's going to make a beeline for the inside. The key to the race is 1. If 1 can lead the inside runners, it depends how close Iron to Sydney turns in pursuit. If 2 gets a toe round and turns second, I'd fear for the others. I think 2 could back run 1. But if they stack up a little bit, I think Havana Top Note, with that all-round pace, I think he can get the job done. It's a fascinating final. 6 railers. It always had the possibility to be a railer-heavy final, and we've got 6. But Romeo Hotshot needs to track cleverly, and I'm not sure he's as good a dog coming from off the pace as he is fronting off.
I'm thinking that Romeo Hotshot is a runner, but in order for him to win, he's just going to need to be flashy from the boxes, just and away and gone. That's the only way I can see him winning.
Yeah, 100%. He needs to do a 13, 40, 50 sprint sectional in this particular final. He's more than capable of doing that, don't get me wrong. And he is capable of coming from off the pace. But whoever I am to Sydney turns in front of have got a tough task, because we know how much he stays the distance as well.
Okay, right, we'll give a squeak to 6 around the outside there. We'll touch on that a little bit later on when we go through picks. Also on the card on Friday night at Romford, it'll be open racing throughout. They say variety is the spice of life, and they're serving it up at Romford because there's races over all sorts of distances. But over the 4-bend trip, we have another final, and it will be the Coral Silver Maiden Final. It's £5,000 up for grabs. We're going to have a look now at just one bit of VT. I think it's the only bit of VT that matters anyway. But Pat Dioro in trap number 2 here. This was the semi-final effort, fastest on the clock. This was the final race before the track was abandoned, having been partially frozen on Friday night. Droopy's Kando in 1. The inside 2 dominated here, but this was brilliant from the Blue Jacket runner, Tony.
Yeah, it certainly was. He caught many an eye in the first round, Dave. I mean, he ran in the All England Cup final, classic runner-up at Sunderland. I mean, he was one of those maidens that came into this event as one of the rightly anti-post market leaders. But he got it right at the boxes. He did brush the rail, but it didn't knock him out of stride. And as you touched on, this was the final race before the meeting was abandoned. I think they made it 40 slow on this occasion. But it's his race to lose. If he gets it right at the boxes and negotiates the first 2 bends unscathed, he wins the race.
Yeah, we'll bring in the draw as well. It's £5,000 up for grabs in the final at Romford on Friday night. And he gets trap 4. He dived into the inside, Pat Dioro, from trap 5 in the opening round. He made no mistake in sensational fashion in trap 2 in his semi, which we just saw. I think if this dog's facing the right way when the trap's open, this dog is over the line. I cannot see how he gets beat here. He's got Minneola Chance in trap 3, who I went all the way back to August 2023 and looked at the last time this Greyhound run from trap 3, and he just dived inside. He certainly favoured an inside line. The coast is clear. Just got to do it okay at the boxes, and I think the Jolly will do the business. And Tony, you just touched on that, but you know, a great innovative competition, if you like, from Romford and Corals, that, you know, it's a maiden event, and to save or protect themselves from maybe an Irish raider just coming over, nabbing it, and then hopping back across the Irish Sea, you had to have run 6 times in the UK. That was part of the conditions of entry here, without winning an Open. Well, Pat Dioro had done that, but at the same time, without winning, had gone all the way to 2 Category 1 finals. So he stood out like a sore thumb in the entry, and I think his claims are clear. Yeah,
and what you just touched on there, I mean, I do all the Opens, and it does make me laugh when you've got like dogs that have reached the Irish Derby semis and they come over here and they run in a maiden and they're like 3 or 4 on. I mean, that's just a loophole, the terms of our conditions and that. I'm not a fan of it. I think in current climate, it probably could be changed, because to call a Derby semi-finalist a maiden is just laughable, really.
Yeah, exactly. But the fair play to Savile Roberts and his team. You know, they're based out of Newcastle, and Romford is not exactly around the corner, so they've made the effort to travel down. This dog trialled as well before entry, and I think it's got a perfect draw. But we'll remind you of our selections for both finals after we tackle a question or 2. We do obviously want you guys to get involved, so like, comment, subscribe, fire questions in on the comments below. Anything you want to ask myself or Tony, or get in touch via social media. We've had a question here from Pete Maddox in Yarmouth, and he says, do Tony and Dave have tracks that they punt at more than others? I'll let you go first, Tony. Do you just fire bullets all over the place? Do you specialise at a track, graded, opens? What's your method when you can get on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of the tracks. I mean, obviously, they say you shouldn't really spread yourself too thinly. Focus on certain tracks. You've got a better chance. But I've always been a fan of the true 4 bend distance, like your Hove, your Central Parks, them type of tracks. I like Swindon. Sunderland's okay, Perry Barn. But your Crayfords and Romford, they've got their place because certain dogs are suited to tight distances. But give me a true standard 4 bend distance any day of the week. Yarmouth's okay. It's always going to be very, very close at Yarmouth, though, Dave.
Yeah, the commentary, and obviously Pete's local track. Yarmouth is a track that it broke my heart one night, and I just waved the white flag. I had a massive punt on Southfield Jock in the East Anglian Derby. Seamus Carhill, I think he was anti-post favourite, and he got to the final. He was a backable price as well, and I just double dipped. I went in again, and do it for Twiggy, just fetched him in right on the jam stick, and I was like, enough's enough, you know, because it's such a long run home at Yarmouth. It's 462 metres. It feels like 662 metres, you know, that run for home. And he just got nailed close home. But, yeah, I mean, tracks. I do like punting at Hove, Thursday night opens. You know, they say you know, it's a front runner's track despite it being sort of demanding 4-bend trip. But the 695 is good, the sprint trip's good, so that would definitely be up there with me, Pete. Hove. Right, now then, I'm going to put it on Tony here because this show's obviously sponsored by Premier Greyhound Racing. 14 tracks on the service. I think over 80% of all Category 1s, Category 2s throughout the year on the Premier Greyhound Racing service. I'm just going to fire at you now, Tony, each track, and you're only allowed a maximum of 3-word answer here. Quick fire, each track, your thoughts. Okay, you ready? Right, we're going to start north and work our way down. So here we go then. Newcastle.
Run the bends.
Pelaw Grange.
Early pace.
Sunderland.
Shut your eyes.
Kinsley.
Shut your eyes.
Sheffield.
Crowd City.
Nottingham.
Watch the third bend.
Monmore.
Pacey track.
Perry Bar.
Tricky circuit.
Yarmouth.
Long run to the bend and a long run home.
That's more than 3, but I'll accept that. Swindon.
Yeah, nice gallop.
Romford.
Look lively at the boxes.
Central Park.
Good track. One of my favourite tracks.
Crayford.
Shut your eyes at the bend.
And Hove.
One of the best there's been and stands the test of time.
Well, you don't watch much racing there, Tony. The amount of time just shutting your eyes.
No, you know, I mean, that's the thing. With the tight circuits and you've got a lot of pace, when they get to the bend all in a line, that's what you see, trouble races. I like with your Central Park. I think the Central Park, the longer distance, I don't know what it measures nowadays, but it used to be the 500, would have been the perfect derby venue when it was out for tenure. I know they was talking about travelling and that, but for dogs, if the dogs had the say, that would have been it. Lovely run to the turn. The early pace runners sort themselves out, and the natural finishers can come and catch you if you're good enough, which applies to Hove. And that's why them 2 tracks are always going to be up there.
Yeah, I remember when it was mooted that Central Park host the Derby, 1 or 2 Irish trainers jokingly suggested that they might get the ferry there rather than obviously with it being in Kent. But there we go. Right. Let's remind ourselves of what we fancy then strongly. We'll go with Tony first. Right, you're already sitting on Havana Top Note at 8-1, and it sounds like you're going to stick with him in the Essex Vase Final.
Yeah, I am. Like normally you could say I'll have a saver on one of the others, but I just think it's a race where you could probably run it numerous times and get a different result. But I was happy with the way the draw worked out, in fairness. When you look at it, he's a dog that's run from various track draws, and I think with Sing-Along Stacey making a beeline for the inside, it possibly could get tighter on the inside, and he's got the run middle to wide.
Yeah, big player there. Coral Silver Maiden Final, where are you?
What you said, it's his to lose. If he gets it right at the cans, Pat the Oro.
Simple as that. Right, I'm going to take a chance in the Coral Essex Vase Final with Queen Georgia. I agree with everything that Tony said about a real potential for crowding on the inside. And I can't get away from her form elsewhere, which is a really dangerous game to play because Romford is Romford and there is no track like Romford. Havana Top Note beat her fair and square in Monday's semi-final, but I just know there's more in there from her. And I think sometimes you get these railers who end up in an alien draw, a foreign draw, and she's out wide in 6 where she's never been in her life. And she might just rock it from the boxes. And if there is crowding on the inside, she could well be away and gone. So at 10-1, I'll chuck her in, maybe a small each way play there. And as I've already mentioned, if he's facing the right way when the trap's open, I think Pap Dioro will win the maiden final as well on Friday night. All that action will be live, of course, on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. Do please remember to get in touch with us, like, comment and subscribe. We'll tackle all the questions next week that get fired in as well. Above all, do, of course, remember to please gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next time.